Good morning, traders and investors. Welcome back to our second show of the Market Movers, and looks like we have some merger news coming out this morning, Dennis.
Nice packs, Joel. Bristol Myers is buying that one for $26 in cash. It closed at $9.87. That's Inhibitex. Their hepatitis C drug company, so their main drugs, Hep C, HCV sector there. Stocks from this sector are moving. I know Bernstein was coming out and saying they see further mergers possible in this sector. So we've got all these little Hep C companies that have hepatitis C are moving up significantly, like IDIX, ACHN. There's a whole pile of them there. We'll go through a couple of them technically, but first let's talk about this Bristol Myers. Obviously, they're the acquisition on INHX.
Yeah, Dennis, it seems to be getting like really a non-reaction from the street here. I see a range of basically 34 to 34.35 in the pre-market. Good resistance here at this 34.40 level, Dennis. Those really would cap the highs in the last 2 days. If they really do like this merger acquisition for BMY, they should be trading up in the 35.5 area. 35.44 was a double top from the end of last year and also on Monday. Coming back on the downside, really can't get too bearish this stock until breaks below 33.76, which was last week's low.
Yeah, obviously INHX, it'll just eventually trade up if the merger goes through to that $26 cash. It's $24.35 right now, so they're putting a little bit of risk premium in there. Obviously, it was a heck of a premium paid there. Looking at a couple other stocks, and so many of these that are up really significantly. IDIX is one of them, which is in IDINX. Just pronouncing all these things, but they all have C companies. That's up 40% here at Joel. 705 it closed at, trading up $2.79 at $9.84 right now. What do you think of IDIX?
Well, it's jumping just based on the news that, this other company is being bought by Bristol Myers. You don't know how good their drug is or really what direction they're going in. I would look at this as an opportunity perhaps to lighten up on some longs if you've been playing the stock for a long time. It's it's certainly a good opportunity. I certainly, you don't want to get in front of it and short the living daylights out of it, but if you want to, take a look at this 1050 area. That's where it traded up to just after 8 o'clock. And if we can't hold in right here at this 960, 970 level, I expect this stock to go back down and trade near its normal range, perhaps back down to 730, 750.
There's so many of these moving. ACHN, QCOR, VVUS, a whole pile of them up. So if you look at some of these little pharmaceutical companies, if they've got some Hep C in them, that's probably why they're popping here this morning. I don't think we're going to go through each one. They're up there and listed on the Market Movers. You can look for yourself. But that's what is driving the majority of those little pharmaceutical companies today is that merger. Moving on, we might as well talk about Alcoa, Joel. They have earnings after the bell here. Stock getting a little lift this morning, trading at 923 after closing at 916. Looking at this chart, I seen a huge institutional buying pressure down there at 850. 845 is the 52-week low. This stock, well, that doesn't come into play during the day-to-day, but for you guys that do trade these earnings plays after the bell, keep in mind these significant levels. So if Alcoa, for whatever reason, doesn't have good numbers, I think that 850 area may come into play, and that could provide some pretty decent support, Joel.
Yeah, Dennis, just going back real quickly to those drug stocks that we had mentioned that were up based on the Inhibitex news. I would keep an eye on those stocks in the first 5 minutes. If they open up real high and cannot hold that first 5 minute range or so, I'd be careful on the long side. On the other hand, if they have a nice breakout from that opening range, then you can go with the flow. Moving on to Alcoa, Alcoa can wait to give us better earnings, Dennis. I have to echo that 850 number. Big institutional buyer there, as well as the 52-week low. 948, 950 capped the first week of the year rally there. So you're guessing between 850 and 950 is mine, and we can wait, until they announce earnings next quarter to see which way it's going to go.
Netflix, Joel, we should talk about this one. What a year this thing has had so far. This stock closed, the year just a few days ago, obviously, at $72. Things trading almost $90 here now. This is obviously your biggest mover this year thus far. Stock up 18 points here in just 3.5 trading sessions. It's just getting driven higher here again. I think this was a stock everybody had written off. The street had written it off. And that's probably, a little bit of a short squeeze this starts, and now it's actually, people are starting to get interested. They're like, oh, Netflix is cheap, so all of a sudden, it starts to move up on real buying pressure as well. $100 is huge psychological resistance on this day, but that could eventually be where it wants to test. What do you think on Netflix, Joel?
Yeah, pretty good volume associated with this thing trading in the pre-market. I keep an eye on this 91.44. It's $1.50 away from here, but that's where we popped in the pre-market. Coming back on the downside, if this thing can't hold the $88 level, it might be time to take some profits. I don't know, would it be too early to start talking about retracements in this thing, Dennis? It's had a tumble from the $300 level, down to $65. So, if anyone wants to take a guess at the 50% retracement on that level, go ahead. I'm not saying it's going there, but it's got some room to travel. Of course, above this 91.44 that we hit in the pre-market, you do have a high back from November 8th at 92.60 on its slide back down into the low 60s.
Aflac, we don't talk about upgrades and downgrades a lot on the show, but Aflac getting a downgrade to sell at UBS. So usually when they have them to sell, that's going to give some pretty good movement in the stock. The stock is trading down significantly, Joel. 73.40 trading there after closing at 43.40 after closing at 44.24. So that stock very weak here in the pre-market on that downgrade to a sell at UBS. What do you think from a technical perspective on that one?
Well, I think maybe the analyst at UBS got sick of watching all those commercials during the bowl games of that duck. But anyways, 43.33 was our low from Thursday. Mild support there. 43.01 was the close that you had on December 30th. So keep an eye on this $43 level. If it can't hold there, then this downgrade may be for real. Coming back on the upside, got a ways to go to fill that gap there, at 44, well, not that far. 44.14 was the low, as well as 44.24. So I expect to run into some problems, just above the $44 level.
Not a lot of earnings reports this morning, but CFN had one. That's CareFusion Corp. They announced earnings. Stock is trading down 70 cents or so not really getting killed, but not a good report either. This is a stock that's pretty conservative. Doesn't move around a heck of a lot. $24, maybe some initial support. I really like that 23 level. I don't see that coming into play today. What do you think, Joel?
What do they do, Dennis?
I knew you were going to throw me under the bus. You always throws me under the bus. These stupid little companies. It's medical equipment is what it is, Joel, but I don't know too much further than that.
Okay, sorry. Going back, Dennis, I do see that 23.08 level that you're talking about, which was a low back on November 25th. In the pre-market, this thing is traded as low as 24.71, but there's only 600 shares associated with that. This one is just really not a high flyer as far as volume goes. So, be careful with your orders. Of course, if it gets anywhere back near Friday's low, which was 24.44 up to the close 25.48, expect some good resistance there.
Joel, IPCM just coming across the tape here. Stock is really getting beat up here. I didn't see what the news was on that one yet, but the stock is trading at $35 here. It's the hospitalist company, IPCM. Closed at $45.65, so it's down $10. So whatever they just said, it wasn't good. Funny that it goes this 35 area, Joel. 35.08 is the 52-week low. It went straight to that number here. Maybe you find some support right there, Joel. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the news is associated with, but Dennis, if you're short, I'm sure you'd be reeling it in here anywhere around this $35 level. That's a huge drop. We'll have to see what the news associated with that. This thing did pause at 39 here, so if you get any kind of a rebound up to the 39 area, might be a chance to balance some longs if you're taking a shot here in this spiraling down stock.
That's all I've really got for you today. Other than that, Joel, we're kind of just hanging out here. It's been a quiet pre-market. Companies moving up. Some of your commodity stocks are mixed, but it's pretty quiet overall, Joel.
Yeah, Dennis, I mean, I'm just going to reiterate, going back to some of the things that we said on the Big Ten show. I mean, you had some of your defensive stocks and your oil stocks as well as IBM close weak on, on Friday near the weekly lows. They're getting a little bit of a bounce. But you got Apple up here, $3, knocking on the door, the all-time high. So, can Apple lead this market to breaking out? Dennis, I still, on our blog from last week, we talked about this tight consolidation area. Can the market break above this 1280 level and, establish a new range up to 1350? Or are we just going to fall back out of this range on the low side below 1250 and meander back into the range that we had August through the end of last year? Who knows, Dennis? We'll find out today. That's our show for today, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.